So hello everyone, in this video I'll be discussing about attribute selectors in CSS, which is kind of just like the combinators because we used combinators to select elements or to advance select elements or specifically select some elements which you want. Similarly, attribute selectors are used when we want a specific item to be selected according to our need. For example, if you have created, let's say, a form, input type text, then you want an input type, let's say a number. I'm not using a form tag here, just to make an example. I can also use some other values as well, like the placeholder or anything you want. So let's say I want enter a text, let's say, and I can leave placeholder here. Let's see that. You can see the button or the form is there. So let's say I want a specific styling for input type, uh, all those input types which are having the placeholder attribute inside them. So I want only those input, I want the styling only to that element which is having a placeholder value, a placeholder target or attribute, or this attribute actually. So if you want to select a particular element according to the attribute inside, attribute which is called inside, so you'll be using attribute selector. So you'll be using attribute selector. So for example, if you want to style something, so you'll be directly using this input, or you'll be using a class or ID, right? So I can use input. Let's say I want a background color of, let's say, gray, and color to be black. I know that's a bad choice, but let's do this. 10 pixel, 20 pixel. So it will style both of the elements, right? Let's make it lighter. So it will style both of the element. You can see that. So it is styling both of the elements. But I want this styling which I specified here, only to the elements or only to the input types which are having placeholder attribute. So I can specify that in a square bracket here. So after this input element, I added this square bracket. Inside that, you can specify the attribute which you want to select. For example, you want the element or this input type which is having the placeholder attribute. So you can just write placeholder here. So if I do that, so now you can see this one is only styled, not this one. And why is that? Because I called placeholder attribute in the first element only. So it is styling only this part, not this input type number. That's the case. Similarly, let's say if you want to style, or let's say there are other text elements as well, and I don't want styling for this, so it will automatically style this element. You can see it is styling that. So let's say I want the styling for the input type numbers. So all those input types which are having, let's say I called input type, yeah, here I can also write something, let's say a number, or let's say let's have the text here because we'll be working on the input type number. So if I do this, so I can also style the input type numbers. Let's say I want to style only input type numbers, not input type text. So I can style it like this. So it will not style this element because it is having the input type text, not the input type number. Okay, and also it is not having the placeholder attribute, so it will not be styled by this styling information nor this one. So I can give a style. Let's say I want a background color of light blue, and a padding of, let's say, 20 pixel, and a color of, let's say, blue. So if I do that, you can see this one is styled. Why is that? Because I have used this type of selector, this input type number selector. Similarly, we have the input type others as well. Like if you want to style the elements which are having some particular word, so at that time you will be using input type with some operators as well before this equal symbol. So let's say I have specified write a text. So I want to style all those elements which are having a text part or the word text. If somebody is having this text word, I want to style that input. So both of them are having that, right? So these will be styled actually. So if I add placeholder here as well, let's say if I add here and write number, if I say write number, so this is write a number and this one is write a text, right? So I want all those elements which are telling or which has this text keyword in their placeholder. I want that to be styled. So how can I catch that particular word only? That I can do with the help of input square. You can write placeholder again, placeholder equal, and before equal you can use this tilde symbol. So it will match that particular word in the placeholder value. So want the text to be checked that whether the text whether the placeholder contains this word or not. So I'll be using this tilde symbol here. Now I can let's say add a font weight or font weight, let's say bold, and I can add a text color, let's say red. It is just for test purposes. So you can see it is having the styling, and both of this one is having a enter a text placeholder, this one is having a write a text placeholder, but both of the placeholder is having this text keyword which is inside. That's why it is styled by this styling information. We just use this tilde symbol. This symbol specifies that whether this word is in the placeholder value or not. That's why sometimes if you want to check the value of the placeholder and check a particular word, at that time you will be using the symbol. So basically it is for that. But remember, if you add something else, let's say if you remove that space, now you can see it is not styling it. So basically it checks if it is having a dash symbol or a space or not. So it will check that. So it is not checking on the dash as well, because it will not check, it will think that it is a single word, not a separate word. That's why it is not having the styling. Similarly, we have input placeholder placeholder equal, let's say I want to check this pipe symbol. You can add this pipe symbol. This will check whether a styling or a placeholder value or any attribute value is starting with this particular word or not. So let's say I want all those elements which are started with right, I want to style them to color green. So I want to style them. So basically it is not doing that. This pipe symbol works like that. So basically right now it is not doing it. Maybe something happened. Let me just write RWR or placeholder like this. So I think I should comment the previous styling as well. because those kind of make problems sometimes. Okay, we can use some other, let's say I can use a lang attribute, English, US. So I can use if the lang attribute is used as English or not. So I can style that, right? Now you can see it is styling that. So because we have used a lot of placeholders everywhere, so that's why the styling is actually taken up by the other placeholders as well, like this one or this one. The most specific one takes over that. That's why. So now it is the most specific one. That's why it is having that. And similarly, I can do this with this one as well. I can put the dash and then that will work. So this pipe symbol will check whether it is starting from this particular word or a particular letter or not. So this checks for that actually. And the other one that we are going to use is this symbol, which is called this symbol. Let me just add it like this. Okay, where is that in my, yeah. So this one is that symbol. So this will check every element. It will check, basically it will check every element whose attribute value begins with this value. So it will check. Earlier it was not checking this one. So it was the difference. Like the difference is when you add a pipe symbol, basically. So this is styling it, right? But it will not check if I put a space here. Let's say you can see it is not checking that. Why is that? Because it is not checking if it begins with that. It is just checking if this word is matched to that or if it is contained in that or not. So for that we can use this one. So this will actually check whether this is starting from this particular word or not. Now you can see it is styling. So this symbol checks whether it is starting from that particular word or letters or not. But the pipe symbol checks whether that is contained inside that or not. So it checks in a word, not as a separate word. So that's why we use this one if you want the word to be checked that whether it is starting from that or not. So this is the use of this symbol. The other symbol is the dollar symbol, which checks that which it is it ending with that or not. So I can comment it out or I can use the different attribute. You got the point, right? So I can use the, let's say, auto check if the placeholder is ending with some particular word or not. Let's say I added number. Now you can see this is a green. Let me just make it to red as well so you can get the idea. You can see this is styled. Why is that? Because it will check whether it is ending with this particular word or not. So you can see it is ending with number actually. So this is the thing basically. And then at last we have our none other than the star symbol that we can use. It is kind of similar to the one which we use at the start. So we can use equal here. So earlier what we did, you remember that we added this symbol, this one. This was checking this particular word, right? But it was not working. So it was not working if this text is attached like this. So it was not working on this. It will work on this if it is a separate word, but it will not work if it is a single word or contained in a word. So let me just show you that. You can see this one is red. Why is that? Because this one takes effect. So basically this one takes effect, this symbol. It checks whether the complete placeholder contains this word or not. But it doesn't work on this one because this doesn't contain a single text word, but instead it is attached with this a dash text. But we have this star symbol. This checks whether it is contained inside that or not. So it can be attached to it or a single word as well. So you can check like this. So I can let's say add the same color. Let's say I can add a font family. Let's say I can add a font family of Arial, and I can add a background color, let's say pink. If I do that, so you can see both of them is styled. This one is styled because it contains a dash text, but it was not styled by the previous one or by this one. By this one, it was not styled because it checks the single word, not the word contained in a paragraph or in a word, in another word. So basically, it will check only the single word. So, but this symbol, this star symbol, actually checks whether this text is contained or not. So it will not check a single word, but instead it will check anywhere if it finds this word we specified. So it will find anywhere. Let's say if it is in a word. So let's say if it is in a textbook. So let's say it is in that. Still it will be styled, but it will not style in this. So it will not style the thing in this. It will check a single word, not the word which is contained inside another word. So these are some attribute selector. I hope you got something, and how we can select the elements with attributes. Basically it is used for styling purposes. When we want specific styling for a form, then we use these attribute selectors specifically. So you can also use them in a form design or anywhere. Thank you for watching. Let's meet in the another one.